Hello everyone, it's the Bitcoin SV Bulldozer. That was a bit of an extended laugh. So, how's life? Today's video is going to be titled Craig Wright, the Grey Zone. The Twilight Zone. Lightning Rod. Double-edged sword. Polarising figure. That is Dr. Craig Wright. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about Craig Wright and this idea of the grey zone. What the hell am I talking about? Well, let's just consider this situation. You're a wage slave and you need to earn that money in order to pay off your mortgage, to keep your kids fed, to keep your wife happy, to keep your family afloat. And the job is ruining your health to the point where if you stay in that job, you will end up with a chronic illness. Alternatively, you can leave your job and then your family is going to suffer big time. You're going to become destitute, out on the streets, etc., etc. Now, these are both hypothetical situations that I've conjured up. There's one path. If you go this way, then this will happen. If you go that way, then this will happen. You don't objectively know what's going to happen. With the chronic illness, the signs are all there. But leaving the job, you don't know what's going to happen. Now, this situation is what I would term an example of the grey zone. An area of doubt, insecurity, instability, not knowing, confusion, the realm of the hypothetical. If I do this, then that. If I do that, then this. And as far as I can tell, just from human observation, most people do not like being in this grey zone. Most people can't handle it. And I used to be like that. I still have my moments, but I've learnt to embrace the grey zone, to actually live in it and not worry about it, because the grey zone is life. Uncertainty, randomness, risk. If you don't take any risks in life, you're not living. So, what's this got to do with Craig Wright? Well, Craig Wright occupies the grey zone. That's why people can't handle him. That's why his detractors are so vitriolic towards him. Look at the whole space and how much vitriol is poured in his direction. Even in BSV, Craig Wright has his detractors. People wish that he wasn't such a presence, that he's bad for branding, for marketing. That's because he occupies the grey zone. So here's a question. Do you think that Craig Wright is necessary for the flourishing of Bitcoin SV or Bitcoin? Would it be a positive if he were to leave BSV for whatever reason? And you can read between the lines a little bit there. But let's just say he completely left the scene and was no longer involved at all in crypto. Crypto in quote marks, that is. Would that be a positive for Bitcoin SV? I would say it would be both a positive and a negative. And you know why? Because Craig Wright occupies the grey zone. So in terms of branding and marketing, it could be very positive because we're just forging our own way now with Bitcoin SV. We're doing our own thing and we're not beholden to this benevolent dictator. However, I would also say it could be very, very bad for Bitcoin SV if he leaves, particularly now. It's too early. And that's saying that after his involvement here for 4 years. It's still too early. Or is it 5 years? Yeah, 5 years, wow. And that's not even including his presence during the BTC BCH fork, or before that even. I would say that despite the negative aspects that Craig Wright brings to the space, he is a foundational rock in Bitcoin SV. His work ethic, his drive, his innovation and creativity, his tenacity, it infuses the whole BSV space. And I don't think people realise it. So he is pretty much necessary right now for Bitcoin SV's development, especially with what is going on with Terranode. So he's both an asset and a liability. He occupies the grey zone. If he leaves, oh, then this. But if he leaves, oh, then this. right? If he stays, this, but if he stays, this. Now, he's also got that polarising personality, and it's pretty clear that he has some poor social skills. So the diagnosis of Asperger's, there is some merit to that, right? That is the grey zone. The Copa case is just pure grey zone. And I love the fact that Meta has withdrawn from the Copa group. That's brilliant. More grey. So what is actually the point of the Copa lawsuit? What is Craig Wright wanting to achieve from it? It's not even really clear. Does he want to lose? Would it be such a bad thing if he did lose? Right? So just from his actions, we don't even know really what he's got up his sleeve. We know that he's got stuff up his sleeve. As soon as that proposal came out, I knew they'd reject it very quickly. And it wouldn't surprise me, I didn't check, but it was basically either while I was making that recording or very soon after that they said, no, we reject this. So you know that whatever is being presented to us is not the full story. There's a grey element there. And this Copa case, I swear, it's going to throw up more of this stuff. People are going to be going, what the hell is going on? Scratching their heads. People are already doing this. What's the whole point of this? What's the whole point of the plaintiffs going after him? They just want to get rid of him, I think. They're not really interested in Copa, Crypto Open Patent Alliance. They just want to get this guy off their backs. He is a thorn in the side of so many people in the space. Thorn in the side, grey area, polarising figure, lightning rod. It's all the same thing. And he'll continue to be a thorn in the side of people. Forever. Forever. Copa is this thing, right? You know, it's not going to change much, in my opinion, the outlook for Bitcoin SV if he wins or loses. There might be some positive influx of people to the BSV space if he wins. There'll be a price bump. Get your dopamine into you guys. I think there'll be a price pump. Yeah, it's going to shoot up, moon. But I don't think it'll be a lasting thing. I think with the move over, that would be positive though. But in terms of his detractors, they're going to double down. The vitriol's not going to go away, guys. It's going to get worse if he wins. It'll get worse if he wins or loses. Do you see? If he wins, they'll double down and it still won't be proven that he's Satoshi Nakamoto. He's not going to sign anything, right? Which is what they want. They'll double down. If he wins, they'll double down. If he loses, there will be a party as if they're dancing on his grave. Get ready for the bullshit that comes out for that space. The problem is, though, he won't go away. Even if he loses, he'll still be here, and Bitcoin SV will still be here. Grey zone. Win, lose, doesn't really matter much. So the other thing is, this grey zone will go on indefinitely. Bitcoin itself is the land of the grey zone. It's summed up brilliantly by the fact that when Satoshi Nakamoto published the white paper in 2008, James A. Donald, or whatever his name was, came out immediately and asked a question about whether or not it could scale. And that issue, that polarising issue of scale, has been with Bitcoin since day one, 15 years later. Unbelievable. 15 years. The polarising figure of Bitcoin. And now we have Bitcoin SV, which has scaled. Now, this is a bit controversial because I don't think it has successfully scaled yet. I still think, in a way, what we're seeing is Bitcoin in the testing stages. I agree with those that say that it's not enough that mostly a single miner is mining Bitcoin SV and we've got scale that way. We need multiple miners, roughly equal on hash, or at least in the vicinity of being equal on hash rate, competing against one another. And we need widespread adoption for it to really be tested in terms of scale, I think. And I think also with that widespread adoption, attack vectors will come that we won't have foreseen. So I don't think as yet it has successfully scaled. I think it's given a good indication that it can scale low. It's the best we've got in the whole crypto space. So polarising, grey zone, it hasn't really scaled. And then we've got this Frankenstein's coin called BTC, which out of ideology isn't going to scale, but is being pushed to scale. Unbelievable. The dichotomies, the schizophrenia. It exists in the coin itself. It exists in Craig Wright, this phenomenon.